Ladies and gentlemen, it's time we have a real conversation. Not a conversation about the world outside, but the world inside of us. The world of our minds, our hearts, and the people we choose to surround ourselves with. Recognizing the demons in your life is the first critical step to breaking free from their grip. But when we talk about demons, we're not always referring to supernatural beings or dark forces from another realm. In fact, the demons we're fighting are often more subtle, more personal, and much closer to home. They can be the toxic relationships that drain our energy, the negative thoughts that paralyze us, or the self-destructive habits that keep us from moving forward. These are the demons we need to recognize and confront. It's easy to think of demons as something distant or otherworldly, but the truth is, these forces often come disguised as familiar faces or comforting patterns. Sometimes they show up as people we trust, people we love, or even people we believe we need in our lives. But what we need to realize is that not everyone who walks into your life is there to help you. Some people come into your life with destructive intentions, either because they are operating from their own unresolved wounds, or because they want to pull you into their drama, chaos, or dysfunction. The first thing you have to do is identify these toxic influences. Take a hard, honest look at the people and situations around you. Ask yourself, what's draining me? What's bringing me down? You might be surprised by the answers you find. Sometimes we stay in relationships because we feel obligated or because we fear the consequences of standing up for ourselves. But allowing negative, toxic energy into your life is allowing those very demons to thrive. Recognizing the demon often means confronting the uncomfortable truth that something or someone is not in alignment with your higher purpose. It's easy to ignore, avoid, or deny the signs of negativity, especially when we have emotional ties to the source of a problem. Perhaps it's a family member who always criticizes your efforts, or a friend who constantly pulls you into gossip and drama. Maybe it's a romantic partner who belittles your dreams, or a colleague who undermines your success. The reality is, these individuals or situations may not be overtly malicious, but their influence is still harmful. In many cases, these toxic forces take root because we haven't set clear boundaries. We allow ourselves to be manipulated or pulled in directions that do not serve us. And often these demons feed off of our inability to say no, our lack of assertiveness, and our desire to please others. But recognizing it means realizing that you are not here to serve others' demons. You are here to serve your higher purpose, your calling, and the best version of yourself. On top of people, the demons can also appear in the form of your own self-sabotaging thoughts. It's easy to get caught up in a cycle of self-doubt, insecurity, and fear. We tell ourselves we're not good enough, that we don't deserve success, that our dreams are too big or too impossible. These negative thought patterns are insidious, and they can slowly erode our confidence and motivation. When you constantly think that you're not worthy or capable, you are enabling the demon of fear and insecurity to control your life. Another form of demon that we must recognize is the destructive habits that hold us back. These could be unhealthy coping mechanisms like overindulging in food, alcohol, or substances, or perhaps a constant cycle of procrastination where you never move forward because you're paralyzed by the idea of failure. These habits can feel comforting or even familiar, but they are not serving your growth or your future. The more you feed them, the stronger they get, and the harder it becomes to break free. Recognizing these demons requires a willingness to be brutally honest with yourself. It's about looking at your life and asking the tough questions. What's working? What's not? It requires you to be willing to call out the toxic behaviors, thoughts, and patterns for what they are. Demonic forces trying to hold you back from your destiny. If you are constantly surrounded by people who tell you that you're not good enough, or if you keep making excuses for why you haven't taken action on your dreams, you are enabling the very forces that are keeping you stuck. But this recognition isn't just about identifying what's wrong. It's about seeing the potential for what could be right. It's about understanding that you have the power to change your environment, your mindset, and your habits. Once you recognize the demons, you're in a position of power. You don't have to accept their presence in your life. You can choose to confront them, reject them, and replace them with positive influences and empowering beliefs. In order to recognize these demons, you must be willing to listen to your inner voice and your inner voice in your instinct. You have to trust the feelings that arise when something doesn't sit right with you. Often, we ignore our intuition because we don't want to rock the boat or because we're afraid of confrontation, but your instincts are there to protect you. If something feels off, chances are it is. The more you trust your gut and recognize what's not aligned with your purpose, the easier it will be to make the necessary changes. Finally, recognizing the demons in your life also means acknowledging the role you've played in allowing them to have power over you. It's easy to blame others, but sometimes we are the ones who have enabled toxic patterns or behaviors. Maybe we've allowed people to walk all over us because we didn't want to disappoint them, or we tolerated unhealthy habits because we were too afraid to change. But once you recognize that the power to change is in your hands, you become free. You no longer have to be a victim of your circumstances. You can be the victor. Recognizing the demons is the first step in your journey of liberation. It's not always easy, but it is essential. Once you identify these toxic forces, you can start to take the necessary steps to remove them from your life and begin the work of healing, growing, and stepping into the fullness of your destiny. You deserve a life free from the grip of negativity, and it all begins with recognizing the demons and deciding not to help them anymore. We often find ourselves in situations where we are enabling destructive behavior, whether it's from others or even ourselves. When we talk about enabling, we're referring to the act of supporting, encouraging, or facilitating harmful actions or patterns that ultimately hinder growth, healing, and success. This is one of the most dangerous traps we can fall into, yet it's so easy to do, often without even realizing it. Enabling destructive behavior doesn't always mean doing something overtly wrong or harmful. It can manifest in more subtle ways, like making excuses for someone who repeatedly disrespects your boundary, tolerating the toxic behavior of people you love, or continuing to support habits that you know are undermining your potential. What we don't realize is that when we enable negativity, we are feeding the very thing that keeps us or others from rising above adversity. By not addressing the destructive behavior at all, we allow it to continue. And in some cases, we even encourage it. It's important to recognize that enabling doesn't just affect the person or situation you're helping. It affects you as well. When you continually enable destructive behavior, whether it's someone else or in yourself, you are complicit in keeping things stagnant. You prevent progress from taking place. And the reality is, enabling allows the destructive patterns to grow stronger, giving them more power over you or the people you're trying to help. The behavior continues, and with every excuse you make or every compromise you allow, you become more entangled in the cycle of dysfunction. Take a moment and think about the people in your life. Are there relationships where you're tolerating behavior that is unhealthy or harmful? Maybe it's a friend who constantly drains your energy with negativity, but you continue to listen to their complaints and offer advice, even though they never make any effort to change. Or perhaps it's a family member who has destructive habits, but you keep enabling their behavior by taking care of their responsibilities or giving them financial support, even though you know deep down it's not helping them grow or heal. In these situations, you're not helping, you're enabling. You're holding them in a place where they can't change or grow because you're making it easier for them to stay stuck. There's a misconception that enabling is an act of kindness or love. We think that by tolerating destructive behavior, we're somehow helping or showing compassion. But in truth, enabling is one of the most harmful things you can do for someone who is trapped in a cycle of negativity or self-destructive habits. It's easy to get caught in the mindset of I'm just trying to help. But when we look closer, we realize that our efforts may not be making a difference in the way we think they are. Instead of helping the person, we are enabling their continued dysfunction. By stepping in and taking responsibility for things they should be handling themselves, we are robbing them of the opportunity to face the consequences of their actions and learn from their mistakes. The painful truth is that sometimes growth doesn't happen until we hit rock bottom. If we constantly intervene and protect someone from the consequences of their actions, We prevent them from learning the lessons they need to learn. Enabling self-destructive behavior also applies to our own lives. Often we are our own worst enablers. We tell ourselves that we'll start working on our goals tomorrow, that we'll quit our bad habits next week, or that we'll take better care of ourselves once we're less busy. But the reality is, every time we make an excuse, every time we let ourselves off the hook, we are enabling our own stagnation. We become complacent in our own lives, and the longer we enable these patterns, the harder it becomes to break free. We may even find ourselves trapped in a cycle of procrastination, fear, or self-doubt, where we continue to allow our dreams and goals to slip further away. The question we need to ask ourselves is, why are we enabling this behavior? Why do we allow negativity to persist in our lives, and why do we support it in others? In many cases, it's because we are afraid of confrontation or uncomfortable conversation. We fear rejection, disappointment, or conflict. We want to be liked, and we don't want to seem harsh or unkind. But enabling isn't about kindness, it's about avoiding the hard work of change. It's easier to keep tolerating the toxic behavior than it is to address it and make the difficult decisions necessary for progress. When you stop enabling destructive behavior, you take a stand for what's right. You recognize that your role in someone else's life is not to carry them through their problem or make excuses for their mistakes. Your role is to help them see the truth, support them in finding their own strength, and encourage them to take responsibility for their actions. Enabling behavior ultimately keeps the person or situation in a state of dependency. But when you refuse to enable, you create space for real transformation to take place. This is not about abandoning people or walking away from relationships. It's about setting boundaries and refusing to accept behavior that holds you or others back. It's about making a difficult decision to stop rescuing, stop fixing, and stop enabling. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough to let them face their own challenges and grow from them. By refusing to enable, you are empowering them to take ownership of their lives and make the necessary changes. And remember, enabling is not just about other people. It's about stopping the negative cycles within ourselves. Stop enabling your own excuses. Stop enabling the fear, doubt, and procrastination that hold you back from reaching your full potential. Every time you allow yourself to stay stuck in a negative pattern, you are enabling your own limitations. But when you break free from that, when you choose to confront the things that hold you back and stop enabling your own excuses, you take the first step toward living the life you were meant to live. Enabling destructive behavior only serves to keep things the same, to trap people in their current circumstances. But when you stop enabling, you create the possibility for real growth, for real change. This is the moment when you say, enough is enough. It's time to let go of what's holding you and others back. It's time to start moving forward. It's time to stop enabling demons. Knowing your worth is a fundamental part of living a fulfilled and purposeful life, yet it's something many of us struggle with. Far too often we find ourselves caught in the trap of seeking validation from others, measuring our value based on external opinions or achievements, or allowing our sense of self to be defined by the circumstances we find ourselves in. The reality is, your worth isn't determined by your past mistakes, your failures, or how others perceive you. It's inherent within you, a gift that is unique to who you are. And once you truly grasp the depth of that worth, you can begin to live a life of greater confidence, strength, and purpose. When we don't know our worth, we start to accept things in our lives that aren't in alignment with our higher potential. We tolerate mistreatment, settle for less than we deserve, and allow others to dictate our happiness and success. The problem with this is that we end up living lives that are controlled by forces outside of us. We might spend years in unhealthy relationships, working in jobs that don't bring us fulfillment, or holding on to beliefs that keep us small, all because we don't fully recognize the incredible value that we hold. It's essential to understand that knowing your worth is not about arrogance or pride. It's about having a deep, unshakable understanding of your value as a person. Your worth comes from who you are, not from what you do or what others think of you. You were created for a purpose, and that purpose is powerful, unique, and significant. When you realize that your worth is inherent, you stop looking outside of yourself for approval and begin to make decisions that reflect the truth of your value. One of the most common ways people fail to recognize their worth is by seeking approval from others. We look to family members, friends, or colleagues for affirmation, hoping they'll tell us that we're good enough, that we're worthy of love, success, or happiness. But when our worth is contingent upon someone else's opinion, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment and insecurity. People's opinions are subjective, and they are often influenced by their own biases, fears, and insecurities. If you base your worth on the approval of others, you are giving them the power to determine your value, and that is never a position of strength. Another way we fail to know our worth is by measuring ourselves against others. We live in a world where comparison is rampant. Social media, the workplace, and even personal relationships often lead us to compare our progress, accomplishments, and lives to others. But comparison is a dangerous game. It breeds insecurity, jealousy, and self-doubt. The truth is, no one's journey is the same. Comparing your path to someone else's will only leave you feeling inadequate. The value of your life isn't dependent on what someone else is doing. It's dependent on the unique gifts, talents, and potential that you possess. When you recognize that your worth isn't based on how you measure up to others, you free yourself from the trap of comparison. Knowing your worth also means understanding that your past does not define your future. Many people carry around the weight of their past mistakes, failures, and regrets, allowing those experiences to dictate how they see themselves. But your past is not your identity. You are not defined by the things you've done, the mistakes you've made, or the failures you've experienced. These things do not diminish your worth. They are merely stepping stones that have shaped who you are today. You are worthy, not because of your perfection, but because you are still growing, evolving, and learning. When you embrace your past as part of your journey, without allowing it to define your future, you begin to realize that your worth is far greater than any failure or setback you've encountered. A significant aspect of knowing your worth is learning to set boundaries. If you don't know your worth, you may find yourself constantly giving to others at the expense of your own well-being. You may tolerate behavior that disrespects you or crosses your boundaries because you don't fully recognize that you are deserving of respect and consideration. Setting boundaries is a clear indication that you value yourself. It's saying, I know my worth, and I will not allow anyone to treat me in a way that diminishes my dignity or my peace. When you understand your worth, you begin to say no to things that drain your energy, relationships that hold you back, in situations that do not align with your values and goals. Another powerful aspect of knowing your worth is the ability to say yes to the right things. Many times, we avoid stepping into opportunities because we don't believe we are capable or deserving. We may have dreams, goals, or aspirations, but we hesitate to pursue them because deep down, we question whether we are good enough. But when you truly understand your worth, you realize that you are more than capable of achieving the things you desire. You are worthy of success, of happiness, of love, and of all the good things life has to offer. It's not about perfection, but about believing that you have the right to pursue your dreams and the ability to make them a reality. When you know your worth, you stop settling for mediocrity. You stop accepting less than you deserve, and you stop allowing fear to hold you back from taking bold steps toward your goals. You recognize that you are created for greatness, and you begin to step into that greatness with confidence and purpose. Knowing your worth means embracing your potential and taking action to fulfill the purpose you were designed for. Ultimately, when you know your worth, you move through life with a sense of power and confidence. You don't need external validation to feel good about yourself. You don't need to compare yourself to others. You don't need to seek approval from anyone because you are rooted in the truth of who you are. This inner knowing transforms your mindset, your actions, and the way you interact with the world. It sets the foundation for living a life that is aligned with your true self, where your decisions, actions, and relationships are all a reflection of the value you place on yourself. So take a moment to pause and reflect on your worth. Know that you are deserving of every good thing that comes your way. Know that you are enough just as you are. And when you fully embrace your worth, you will see your life begin to shift in ways you never imagined possible. One of the most powerful things you can do in your life is to stop giving your energy to things that do not align with your purpose or your growth. Life has a way of pulling us in many directions, often leading us to focus on things that drain our energy rather than feed it. The reality is, every moment of your life is precious, and how you choose to spend your time and energy determines the trajectory of your future. When you give your energy to things that are not aligned with your purpose, you rob yourself of the opportunity to fully step into your potential. We live in a world filled with distractions, obligations, and expectations. It's easy to get caught up in the noise, to respond to the demands of others, or to react to situations that do not serve us. But when you constantly give your energy to the wrong things, you find yourself exhausted, overwhelmed, and disconnected from your true purpose. It's easy to get trapped in cycles of busy work, constantly moving, but never really making progress. The truth is, busyness does not equate to productivity. You can be busy all day long and still be far from your goals. One of the key ways people waste their energy is by focusing on things they cannot control. We often get caught up in worrying about what other people think, stressing over situations that are beyond our influence, or trying to fix things that are not ours to fix. When we give our energy to things outside of our control, we are essentially giving away our power. We allow the external world to dictate our inner peace and well-being. But the reality is, the only thing you can control is your own actions, thoughts, and reactions. If you spend your energy on things you cannot control, you're robbing yourself of the ability to focus on what truly matters. The things that are within your control, the things that are aligned with your goals and purpose. Another way we waste our energy is by staying attached to the past. We often give so much of our mental and emotional energy to things that have already happened, things we can no longer change. Whether it's past mistakes, regrets, or things we wish had turned out differently, holding on to these things keeps us stuck. When we continuously replay the past in our minds, we prevent ourselves from moving forward. The energy you expend on past hurts or disappointments is energy that could be used to create a brighter future. Letting go of the past is one of the most freeing things you can do. It allows you to stop pouring energy into things that no longer serve you and instead focus on the opportunities and possibilities in the present. Similarly, when you focus too much on what other people are doing, you lose valuable energy that could be used to focus on your own growth. In a world driven by social media and constant comparison, it's easy to look at what others are achieving and feel like you're falling behind. But when you focus on what others are doing, you distract yourself from your own journey. You begin to measure your progress based on someone else's timeline, and that only leaves you feeling inadequate or overwhelmed. When you stop comparing yourself to others and begin to focus on your own path, you stop wasting energy on things that don't contribute to your own progress. Energy is also drained by toxic relationships. If you continue to pour your time and effort into relationships bring you down, drain your spirit, or constantly demand more than you can give, you will find yourself running on empty. Toxic relationships can be exhausting, both emotionally and mentally. They hold you back from becoming the best version of yourself because they keep you entangled in negativity. Sometimes, people in your life may not even intend to drain your energy, but their actions and behaviors are doing just that. It's crucial to evaluate your relationships and ask yourself, are these relationships serving me, helping me grow, and supporting my dreams? If not, it may be time to distance yourself and stop investing energy into situations or people that are holding you back. One of the most profound ways to stop giving your energy to things that do not serve you is to learn the power of saying no. Saying no is not always easy, especially when we fear disappointing others or feeling guilty. But every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to the things that are truly important. Learning to say no is a skill that requires self-respect and the ability to prioritize your own well-being. It's a way of asserting your boundaries and taking control of your time and energy. Saying no to the wrong things means saying yes to the right thing. Your dreams, your peace of mind, and your personal growth. When you stop giving your energy to don't align with your purpose, you create space for what truly matters. You create room for growth, for opportunities, and for the things that will propel you forward. It's easy to get distracted by the noise of life, but when you choose to focus on the things that matter most to you, your purpose, your relationships, and your own well-being, you begin to see real progress. Your energy becomes a powerful force that fuels your goals, ambitions, and dreams. Taking control of your energy is about being intentional. It's about understanding that every moment, every choice, and every action you take either fuels or depletes you. You have the power to decide where to invest your energy, and when you make conscious decisions to focus on what aligns with your purpose, you create a life that is both fulfilling and impactful. Stop giving your energy to things that don't move you forward. Instead, pour it into the things that help you grow, evolve, and become the person you are meant to be. Ultimately, the way you choose to use your energy is a reflection of how much you value yourself and your time. The more you respect your own energy, the more you will see that life begins to shift. The right opportunities will present themselves. The right people will enter your life, and the right circumstances will align with your efforts. When you stop wasting your energy on the wrong thing, you give yourself the freedom to create the life you truly desire. One of the most transformative decisions you can make in your life is to stop living for others and start living for yourself. Too often, we find ourselves caught up in the expectations, desires, and approval of the people around us, whether that's family, friends, co-workers, or society in general. We begin to shape our lives based on what others want or think, losing sight of our own needs, dreams, and passions in the process. The truth is, you cannot fully fulfill your purpose or live a life of fulfillment if you are constantly trying to please others or live up to their expectations. Living for others might come from a place of love, duty, or wanting to be accepted. For many people, there's a deep desire to make others happy, to avoid conflict, or to gain approval. This is particularly common in familiar or social settings where there is often an unspoken pressure to conform to the roles and behaviors that others expect of us. While being considerate and kind to others is important, when you make your entire life about meeting others' needs or expectations, you lose touch with who you really are and what you are truly meant to do in this world. When you live for others, you end up neglecting your own well-being. You start sacrificing your dreams, your needs, and your boundaries in order to please the people around you. The challenge with this is that no matter how much you give, no matter how hard you try to meet their needs or expectations, it will never be enough for everyone. People will always want more, expect different things from you. And the more you try to please others, the more you lose yourself in the process. You become so focused on their desires and approval that you begin to neglect your own. This creates a cycle of frustration, resentment, and burnout because you are giving so much of yourself away and receiving little in return. One of the key reasons why living for others is so damaging is because it prevents you from fully stepping into your own power and purpose. Each of us is born with unique talents, gifts, and desires that are meant to shape our lives and the world around us. When you spend all your time and energy trying to fit into someone else's mold or meet their expectations, you push aside your own purpose. You end up living a life that isn't aligned with who you truly are or what you are meant to do. As a result, you may feel lost, unfulfilled, or disconnected from your true calling. Another way that living for others stifles your potential is by limiting your ability to make bold, decisive choices. When you're constantly concerned with how others will perceive you or what they want from you, you hesitate to make decisions that are true to yourself. You may second-guess yourself, hold back from taking risks, or conform to what is safe or expected rather than following your own path. But true growth and transformation come when you take ownership of your life and make choices that are aligned with your own values and aspirations. When you stop living for others, you free yourself to take risks, chase your dreams, and move in the direction of your true purpose. One of the most important steps in freeing yourself from the need to live for others is to embrace the power of saying no. Learning to set boundaries is crucial, protecting your time, energy, and mental health. If you constantly say yes to things or people out of obligation or fear of disappointing others, you allow their priorities to overshadow your own. By learning to say no, you assert control over your own life. You prioritize your own needs, goals, and dreams, and you stop being dictated by the demands or expectations of others. Saying no doesn't mean you don't care about others. It simply means that you are choosing to protect your own peace and pursue the things that matter most to you. Living for yourself also requires a shift in mindset. It's about recognizing that your life is your own to live, and that you are the one who gets to decide what your journey looks like. You no longer let others determine your worth or dictate your choices. You understand that your happiness, success, and fulfillment are not dependent on anyone else's approval or validation. When you begin to live for yourself, you start making decisions based on your own desires and needs rather than the wants of others. You take ownership of your life, your choices, and your future. The act of living for yourself also involves letting go of the guilt or fear that often accompanies the idea of putting your own needs first. Many people feel guilty about setting boundaries or prioritizing their own well-being because they fear letting others down. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly sacrificing yourself for others, you will eventually have nothing left to give. Taking care of yourself, setting boundaries, and pursuing your own goals is not selfish. It's essential for your growth and well-being. When you live for yourself, you actually become more equipped to help and serve others because you're coming from a place of strength and abundance, not exhaustion and depletion. Living for yourself also means embracing your individuality. It means celebrating the unique person you are with all your quirks, passions, and dreams. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of what others think you should be or do, but when you live for yourself, you embrace who you truly are, unapologetically. This might mean going against the grain, making unconventional choices, or pursuing a path that others may not understand. But when you stop living for others, you give yourself permission to follow your own path without fear or hesitation. Ultimately, living for yourself is about reclaiming your personal power. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of living a life that reflects your true desires and values, not the expectations of others. When you stop living for others, you step into your full potential and begin to create a life that is uniquely your own. You are no longer a passive participant in your own life. You are the creator of it. You make choices that empower you, that align with your purpose, and that bring you joy and fulfillment. So take a moment to reflect on the ways you may be living for others. Ask yourself, are there areas of your life where you are sacrificing your own happiness or well-being to meet the expectations of others? Are you suppressing your true desires in favor of what others want for you? It's time to make a change. Stop living for others. Start living for yourself. Take ownership of your life, embrace your purpose, and step into the future you are meant to create. In conclusion, the journey to stop helping demons and reclaim your power is not an easy one, but it is a necessary one if you are to live a life of purpose, fulfillment, and authenticity. The demons in our lives are often not external forces, but the internal patterns and influences that keep us stuck in cycles of fear, doubt, and misguided loyalty. We must recognize that we are not obligated to help or serve those who drain us, exploit us, or keep us from stepping into the fullness of who we are meant to be. It is crucial to understand that your worth is not tied to your ability to fix, save, or please others. Know your worth, because when you truly understand the power and potential that resides within you, you will stop giving your energy to things and people that diminish your light. When you stop living for others, you begin to live for yourself. And that means making choices that serve your highest good, your dreams, and your purpose. You cannot afford to waste your time, energy, and emotional resources on people or situations that are toxic, draining, or unaligned with your calling. Set boundaries, embrace your individuality, and take control of your energy. These steps are not acts of self-respect. You cannot give from an empty cup. And if you continue to allow others to deplete you, you'll find yourself with little left to offer. But when you prioritize yourself, your needs, and your purpose, you will find that you have more to give, not only to others, but to the world at large. Remember, you are worthy of love, success, and peace. You have the right to live a life that aligns with your true desires and aspirations. You do not need to stay in unhealthy relationships or environments that rob you of your energy. It's time to stop helping the demons in your life, stop living for the approval of others, and step into the life you are always meant to lead. Your future is yours to create, and it starts the moment you decide that you are worthy of more, that you are worthy of peace, and that you are worthy of success. Live for yourself, stand in your truth, and let go of the things that no longer serve you.